Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg, episode 175. And we're playing some Monster Hunter World, of course. I'm just going to be doing some gathering in the Waste, the Wildspire Waste, because it's not very thought intensive, which is good. I have unlimited time and it doesn't spoil anything, so it's all good. Yeah, so obviously I've been playing just a crap ton of Monster Hunter. It is living up to the hype for the most part, which is great. Yeah, I put in like 15 hours on Friday and like 13 hours on Saturday. Just no thoughts, no life, just hunting. It's great. Just great. And what's more is I have the whole rest of the week to do pretty much nothing but Monster Hunter. It's good. It's good stuff. Yeah, so this week on this channel, we finished up Hollow Knight, so that's all good. It was a great game. It's all wrapped up with a ribbon on it. More Final Fantasy, of course, and then we started Monster Hunter World, and for I would guess for the next couple weeks or so, it's just going to be Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter. If those don't interest you, I apologize. But I do what I do, and that's what I've been doing. Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter. I mean, as far as Final Fantasy is concerned, right now we're uploading just the early parts of Final Fantasy V. And I am part ways through Final Fantasy VIII at this point. So, no shortage of videos there. As you can imagine, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII, there's a good healthy number of videos there. So, no worries about that. And then Monster Hunter World, obviously, I'm a little ways ahead of what I've uploaded. I don't know how many videos it's going to end up being. We'll see. But a decent number, no doubt. What else? What else? What else? There's always going to be role manging, which is good. I will take a break from Monster Hunter to oh, thanks. To do some role manging, play some RPGs. You know, those don't come around too often, so you gotta jump at the chance. On the exploring series, on Monday I posted the Akavir video, which was a video I was really happy with. I think plenty of people enjoyed it. It seemed to be somewhat popular, so that's good. And then I posted a Q&A. I decided not to do a live Q&A just because it's just a little too stressful, and there's just too much spam, and it's just no good. So I just did a regular Q&A, pre-recorded, but not scripted. So still a little nerve-wracking because I'm not an expert, and you know, you're gonna have experts scrutinizing. But I thought it went all right. Obviously, I blanked on some stuff. It's just going to be the way it is unless you're an absolute expert on a subject. But it was alright, and the comments were pretty humorous about, since I haven't done a face cam video in a while, got all these new people that have never seen me, and so apparently a lot of people expected me to be some, like, gruff, wizened scholar with a big beard and glasses. I don't know why glasses enter the equation. But apparently I have a wise and scholarly voice, which is funny. Actually, it's hilarious to me. Because I think my voice sucks when I listen to it. It always just sounds too whiny. But, alright, that was good. And so I finished up the video for this week. Normally I would finish up on a Friday. I actually finished it up Wednesday. So I could do the Q&A Thursday and be ready for Thursday night for Monster Hunter. I worked in advance just for this. And then, of course, I arranged it so that this coming week is just going to be the polls to decide the next series, which usually, you know, drive enough attention and things like that. It's a very exciting time that doesn't really matter. I don't post a video the following week. But since I don't have to do much for the polls, you know, I just post them. That gives me, what do you know, a week off. That's exciting. Funny how that sort of aligned with the release of Monster Hunter. Crazy coincidence. So yeah, it's going to be a good week. You know, it's always a little bittersweet when I end a series. Because at this point, you know, I'm pretty comfortable with Elder Scrolls lore. You know, I can somewhat hold my own, I suppose. You know, I know a lot of the ins and outs of different parts of the lore. You know, it was that way when I, you know, was finishing up Middle-earth and finishing up Cthulhu Mythos and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, I know quite a bit. Obviously, I don't know everything, but I know quite a bit. And so now we're leaving that, and I have to go on to a new series that I might not know anything about. And I have to start from scratch, and so that's sort of the downside. The upside, of course, is that I get to move on to something new and exciting. Something different. Could be anything. Could be, you know, Warhammer 40k and all sorts of the crazy sci-fi insanity from that. And or it could be Norse mythology, which is, you know, really interesting stuff. Could be Warcraft, which appeals to me a lot. Who knows? I honestly don't know what will win. So, it's exciting. Yeah, so the polls are going to go up. Well, the Lesser Daedra video goes up tomorrow. The polls will start Tuesday. And then the second poll on Friday. And then the final announcement next Monday. So I guess that's that. Yeah, alright, so board gaming this week was very limited. Practically nothing. I think there was a little bit of Gloomhaven. Basically, we got to a point where we've played a lot of Gloomhaven. Quite a few scenarios at this point. And, you know, if you're playing with 4 people, you're playing a full campaign with 4 people, you're going to unlock, roughly, twice as many new characters, new classes, as when you're playing with 2 people. Just, that's how it is. That's how it works. For the most part. I mean, some of the personal quests might be a little slower with 2 people. But I think, you know, you're just having twice as many people work towards objectives. And so we really haven't opened that many boxes, and we've played a lot of scenarios, and, you know, we're starting to, you know, from what I understand, there is like a final boss. I think you can keep playing after the fact, but there is like a final boss. And so the final boss is like within sight. Like we're working towards this big battle. And we haven't opened that many boxes, and looking at like my mom was playing this one character that was fine. There wasn't anything terrible about it. But it wasn't as fun for her as it probably could have been. And looking at her personal quest that she needed to do to unlock a new character, she had to kill like 15 vermlings or something. And it's just like, I'm looking through all the scenarios. I'm calculating like how easily she could accomplish this quest. And it was just ridiculous. Like, she might not ever unlock this, you know, fulfill this quest. And maybe that's by design. That's just how these things line up, and you maybe just switch to a different character and work on a different quest or whatever. But I mean, screw that. You know, I paid a lot of money for this game. I want to see what's in those boxes. So I said, you know, whatever, just screw it. Retire your character and move on. Open another box. So that's what we did. And the new character she got seems a lot cooler, a lot more exciting. And yeah, no harm done, and move on and just have a good time. That's what I say. And my character, you know, I'm using one of the base characters, the Spell Weaver or whatever it is, and it's fine. It's not particularly exciting, and like I said, I want to unlock open boxes. So my personal quest is achievable. I have to just kill 20 elite monsters, but I haven't been keeping track of elite monsters to kill, so I don't know when exactly it's going to get done. And so I'm just going to pick some arbitrary point and just be like, yeah, all right, I'm done. And open another box. Because, you know, whatever. I don't want us to, like, put away the box and, you know, put away the game and we're done with it and we never really play it until maybe an expansion comes out or something with more characters or whatever. And we just have all these characters we've never seen and never played with. Like, that would be kind of lame. So, yeah, I mean, it's on a slight hiatus because I've just been playing Monster Hunter, but we'll get back to it. And we've got a lot of Arkham Horror card game stuff coming in because I have this subscription with Team Covenant or whatever, so they send me every new scenario when it comes out. And so we've got a bunch of that lined up for when we're done with Gloomhaven, but also from what I hear, like Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition, 2-player is maybe pretty good. Because you don't, you know, it has an app, so you don't have to have one person running the whole thing. And it's got a theme that I like, obviously, Cthulhu Mythos, so maybe that's an option. Yeah, so that's that. All right, so roll Mangg. It was our 4th session of Shadow of the Demon Lord. Things are going well. We've arrived in the big city. And there's a quarantine in effect in the city, so they're really cautious about who they let into the city, and they've quarantined off a part of their city, the poorer part of town. They've quarantined it off, and it's guarded. They don't let anybody really out unless they're heavily, checked. And we find out that the witch hunters in the city are planning to just set the whole quarantine area on fire. Just purge it with flame and be done with it, and, you know, cure the city. Now, if I was playing as Gug, or, you know, potentially even Artemis, that is not a plan that is beyond Artemis either. You know, I might support it. I might be like, all right, how do we help? How do we help arrange this? But that is definitely not an Orion plan. He would prefer to, you know, cure everybody, which is perhaps hopelessly optimistic. But that's the character, you know, that I play, and that's the way it is. Player character. And so we went to the House of Healing. Because they would have the most information about this plague and things like that. And so I flashed these research papers that I took from the monastery, from the necromancer that was studying this plague. And I was like, look, I've done all my research. I need to talk to who's in charge here about this plague and blah, blah, blah. I'm a scholar, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, I haven't done all this research, but I'm certainly interested. So we get taken to sort of the matron of the House of Healing, and we discuss with her, you know, what's happening in town and where this is coming from and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she says that this plague, you know, it didn't originate in the city. Like, she knows that. And she gives us, like, this town on the coast or something like that, that she thinks that this is where it started. This is the first case that they heard about. And so we could just say, screw it, and leave city immediately and go to where this started. We could have done that. But I was like, there's a lot of sick people here, and they're planning to just burn them. And so I was like, we can't have that. So, we decided to stay, and we're like, all right, how can we help? What can we do? And so it seems that there are agents within the city that are actively working to spread the plague. And the House of Healing and, like, the guards or whatever working with them have narrowed it down to 3 blight houses, they're calling it. They know the rough area in which these 3 houses are located across town. You know, they're all over the place. But they don't know specifically which houses or locations that these things are located at. But supposedly, agents working to spread the plague have been working in these places, coming in and coming out, things like that. And so they needed our help to find out exactly where these things are located and potentially, you know, deal with it. Which is fine and dandy. Obviously the concept is pretty abhorrent to Orion that you know, these people are spreading the plague on purpose for whatever reason. So I was like, all right, we can do that. There's 3 places. We have 3 player characters. And we also have 3, like, NPCs that are with us. So we each take an NPC, we split up, and we go check it out. And I told them, you know, recon only. So just, you know, find out exactly which house or whatever is the correct one. And then report back, and then we'll deal with the places ourselves, you know, as a group. And so they agreed, and so we set out. So I went towards the sort of southern part of town, and you know, Ziggy really left it sort of open as to how exactly we would locate these places. And so he's just like, all right, you're on sort of this busy market street. There's people everywhere. What do you do? And so I thought, you know, okay, I need to figure out the comings and goings of this area, you know, shady people, somebody that's really sort of looking around and spends their time looking around. You could ask some of the merchants, but they don't move much. And so, of course, if you want information in a city, beggars are always a great option. So I looked around for beggars, but apparently this is a slightly better part of town. So there aren't too many beggars sitting around. So I'm like, all right, option 2, you look for the pickpockets. You know, the younger lads or lasses that are making a living pickpocketing off of the wealthier folk. They usually have a pretty good bead on everything in the area. Their eyes are always, you know, looking at everything. They might know. And so I find a pickpocket. Yeah, I watch him as he, you know, makes a lift. He gets a good steal. I don't stop it, and I don't reprimand him. You know, times are tough. And, I meet him in an alley, and I'm like, you know, I'll pay you, you know, some more silver or whatever if you answer some questions. And I asked him about any sort of shady individuals coming and going out of a house or something like that, possibly late at night. And yeah, he knew. He had some info. He brought us to a house, and he said, you know, supposedly it's abandoned, but my friend has seen people coming and going late at night. And so, you know, we went up onto the rooftop. I tried to scout around. I could hear some like real hushed voices inside. I'm like, all right, this is probably it. I'm not going to go in. I said recon only. I can't break my own rule. And so that was it for me. Dirk McGurk, he volunteered to go into the quarantine zone, because apparently there was a blight house in the quarantine zone. So he went in there, you know, the borders, the gates were being watched by witch hunters. But he said he was on official business with the House of Healing. And so they, you know, they'll let you in. It's just a matter of getting back out. And so he goes in there. He finds another worker from the House of Healing in there, and he asks her about it. And she leads him to like a sewer entrance. And, you know, she tells him that, yeah, I've seen some stuff go down, and that they're apparently operating out of the sewers. And so he listens to me. He doesn't go down there. It's just recon. And that's that. When he goes to leave, they check him out. They do like a medical check on him to see if he's infected. And he wasn't. So the witch hunters let him back out, and all is well. Then we get to Auk, the not dwarf human. And he goes into the northern part of town. And I guess his plan, how could I even just say what his plan was? His plan was to, I guess, masquerade as a beggar, I guess. I think that was his plan, was to pretend to be a beggar. And so he buys like some beggar's clothes off of a beggar. They trade clothes or something like that. And I think he's got like a bottle of alcohol with him or something like that. And so he starts just like stumbling around in the street, like pretending to be drunk or something like that. And so he gets accosted, I suppose you could say, by a member of a house of healing. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, you're you're intoxicated, and you look like you're starving, you know, whatever." I don't remember what she said. He's like, "Here, let come into the house of healing, and we will take care of you." And he tried to, you know, just brush her off and be like, "No, I'm perfectly fine. I'm on my way to see my son," or some terrible lie like that. It's like, no, you're clearly just some drunk beggar in the street. You're not on your way to see your son. Terrible lie. And so she really was like trying to get him into the house of healing, you know, to take care of him. And he did not want to go in there because he's trying to figure out where this blight house is. And so she starts like pulling on his arm or something like that. And she calls over to like a nearby guard. It's like, "Here, help me take this this drunkard in to the house of healing," or something like that. And so the guard starts walking over, and Phil apparently just had enough of this. He didn't want anything to do with this. So he went to like backhand the woman right in front of the guard. Like as the guard's walking over, he's just going to backhand this woman. And so I just reached over, I grabbed a new character sheet for him. I'm like, "Here you go. Here you go, buddy. You'll need this." He actually missed. So he actually missed with the backhand, which was better for him. But that didn't stop the guard from, like, you know, pulling out his billy club or whatever the hell and rushing over to beat down this violent drunk. You know, striking a member of the House of Healing. Oh my gosh. And so he went on the run. He didn't get very far. And they just dragged him back to the House of Healing. Rather than arresting him, they took him into the House of Healing. Which maybe should have been his first clue. So in the House of Healing, they lay him down and they're like, you know, you're sick, you're not well. Here, drink this and you'll feel better. And so they try to get him to drink this. And at that point, really, I wasn't sure what exactly was happening. But he played it cautiously, played it very cautiously. And so he just tried to fake drink. Actually, I think he did drink it, but after they left the room, he made himself throw up. And so he threw up this liquid. And so he's just sort of laying there, and he, like, somebody walks in, so he's, like, pretending to sleep. And so it's, like, this older guy, apparently. And he hears him say, like, "Oh, yes, this one will do nicely," which is never anything you want to hear. And so I'm just laughing my ass off that he's in this situation. And so this guy walks over to the bed and, like, picks up his arm. And so, of course, he pretends, you know, to just be limp, like he's sleeping. But then he feels, like, this small knife dig into his arm and just start tearing into it. And so that's when he reaches for, like, his boot dagger or something and stabs this old guy in the stomach. And so I'm like, wow, you're just absolutely fucked. There's one exit to this room. So it's just the one door. And apparently there's, like, 3 other people in the doorway. And so, yeah, he tries to fight his way out with just his dagger, but no, it doesn't quite work out for him. And so things go dark on Awk, and that's that. And so he makes up a new character. And so we did the full character creation. And so I'm like, you should pick something other than a human. Be something more fun. Because we've had a bunch of humans. So he picked Clockwork, which are sort of just the metal constructs with a soul plucked from the underworld and thrust into them. He picked a Clockwork, and so we went through the Clockwork character generation. I swear to you, by far the funniest character creation we've ever witnessed, ever. Just side-splitting funny shit. And really, I recommend finding it in the stream. It would probably be a couple hours in or something like that. And just, my God, it was so funny. Because it was all just, just random care gen from these sort of, these different tables of what happened to him in his early life or whatever, and these different life experiences that he's had. And so basically he just ended up being, he was created by this like cow herder somehow. Like, it's not explained at all how this guy managed to create him, this cow herder. And he was just like looking for a receptacle to hold the soul of like his loved one or something like that. But he didn't get a loved one. He got this like violent criminal from another life. And so the first thing that he did was like murder his creator. And then he lived for like another 100 years. And apparently after that, he sort of calmed down on the murders. Maybe. Not really. So yeah, he's lived like 112 years or something like that as a Clockwork. And, yeah, there were just so many funny little things about that whole character creation. It was absolutely hilarious. Some things don't really like mesh and make sense because it is just, random tables that come together. So I don't know if I would call it the best character creation, but absolutely the funniest. And so I'm glad he keeps dying so we can continue to experience this hilarious character creation. So yeah, me and Dirk McGurk met back up at the tavern, and there was no Awk, but his servant Kren or whatever showed up and said he didn't know. Well, actually, apparently how he was introduced. So Kren was like getting mugged or something in the street, and this Clockwork saved him. And so Kren brought the Clockwork back to the tavern and be like, yeah, I don't know where Awk went, but I found this guy. He's very helpful, and he saved my life, and blah, blah, blah. So maybe he could be of some use. And being a Clockwork who is immune to disease in a land that's being ravaged by disease is pretty good. And so we're like, all right, well, we did our job, so we found our blight houses, but we don't know what happened to Awk, and we don't know where the third one is, so let's do that first. So we set off to where, Awk had been roaming around, and we're like, all right, let's try and find this. And we quickly find this other house of healing, and we had never been told that there was a second house of healing in the city. We talked to the matron, she didn't mention that. And so we're like, all right, this could be interesting. Maybe we should pop in and ask around. And, well, apparently the clockwork said that he had seen Auk being taken into the House of Healing here. And so that raised some interesting questions. So we go in there and we're like, and I pretended to be a witch hunter, you know, I flashed the medallion and all that. And I'm like, we're looking for an associate of ours who was brought in here. Stout fellow, looks like a dwarf, but is actually human, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know, he's undercover, so he wouldn't... Fuck, I just got rid of all my potions. Undercover, so he wouldn't have the medallion, but he's one of ours. And so we're like, oh, please wait in this room, and we'll fetch the headmaster or whatever. And so we're sitting there waiting in the room, and I'm like, all right. And I use sense magic, and I like sense a foul aura in this place. Because I also used that at the other Blight House, and I sensed a foul aura, so I'm like, all right, you know, be on your toes here. Weapons, you know, not out, but be ready to grab them. And so sure enough, the lights in the whole place suddenly go out, and we suddenly are attacked by multiple infected, as well as like another leader of the infected or whatever. So we get into a big battle. And during the battle, out of another door or something like that, comes the fully infected, insane, rage zombie version of Auk. So Auk is a full-fledged infected ready to kill us. That happened very quick. Like, it was like an hour in-game. So that's startling, very worrying. But of course, we kill him in like one hit. Like, Dirk McGurk just beheads him instantly. So that was good. That's a good way to end that character. And so we wrap up the other issues. Actually, Dirk McGurk and I both get infected. We both catch the disease during the fight, which is scary, because Auk turned within an hour. Somehow. But apparently, like, he got, like, a direct infection. Like, they inserted these leeches or whatever directly into his bloodstream or whatever, and we just got, like, a contact infection, so it's a slower process, I guess. So we kill everything, and we're like, all right, fuck it. And so I'm like, immediately, like, I'm like, let's not look around, let's not do anything, let's just burn this place to the ground, which Ziggy later told us was a good idea, because if we had poked around some more, there would have been plenty more infected to fight, and we were not in great shape. So we just set fire to the place immediately and left. We didn't even hang around to see it got burned down. We went back to the tavern, and Dirk McGurk stayed up all night, because we figured that, like, sleeping would really hasten the process, but I was like, I need to sleep. Because if I don't sleep, we don't get cured. Because I need to sleep to replenish my spells. And we could have gone to the other House of Healing for for healing, but now we can't really trust them. Not entirely. It's likely that they're on the level and they're okay, but, you know, who knows? Who knows at this point who we can really trust? And so I slept through the night. I didn't get infected any further. I didn't progress. And then I woke up and I cured myself and Dirk McGurk, and we were okay. And that's pretty much where we left it. And so we still have 2 blight houses to take down. Not to mention the fact that they're planning to burn down the quarantine zone, like, today. You know, this day. So we have to work fast, but even then, that doesn't solve the problem of an entire region of the town infected with this highly virulent disease. Infectious disease. So, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how I'm going to save all these people. Even, if we stop the blight houses, okay. it won't spread that much quicker, but these people are still going to die, and there's still the potential for it to spread. Maybe we don't get every blight house. Who knows? They're still going to want to burn it down. I don't know what we're going to do. But it's exciting. It's very exciting stuff. And I think we're level 3 now. So that's good. I can actually create like entire like openings in stone walls and stuff now. It's very exciting. So yeah, it's good stuff. You know, maybe the clockwork will survive a session. Maybe he won't. You never know. And I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Not much else to say. Most of the stuff going on right now is Monster Hunter. But alright, so you can check out the Lesser Daedra video tomorrow. It's not an incredible video, but it gets the job done, I think. Check out the polls this week for the Exploring series. Vote on the next series. You know, if you don't care one way or another, you can pop in and vote for Warcraft, because that would be my choice. Even though it's one fantasy series to another fantasy series. But, oh well. And then stay tuned for more Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy. Alright. So, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. And I'll see you fine folks next week.